Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, folks, wherever you are. Welcome to M1 Racing as we enter the second half of the first half of Season 5 of the G-Force Racing Elite League. My name is Mark, and I'm going to be your host for the next hour and a half or so here with the next round of Racing with GFR. I think I'm going to be on my own this week, but I am not going to be short of things to talk to you about as we have both a sprint and feature race coming up with the drivers here from G-Force Racing. If you would like to get involved and keep me company here this evening, please do so using the chat. You'll need to follow me on Twitch with a verified email, and then you should be able to say hi. So do stop by, say hello, and let me know what you think of the racing that's going to be coming up a little bit later on with G-Force Racing. So before we go into looking ahead, we should have a look back. And as always, we have our regular feature of Dorling's GFR Digest. So let me hand it over to M. Dorling and his words of the week.
Dorling's GFR Digest.
This week, the G-Force Racing League has its first sprint event of Season 5 at Zandvoort in the Netherlands. A very twisty and demanding circuit, and one that may prove challenging when it comes to overtaking. Qualifying here will be key. Marcel had the speed last time out in Abu Dhabi. Whilst his final result didn't show it, he will be going into round 4 looking for a clean race with a return to the podium in mind. Obo had a decent amount of pace in Abu Dhabi until damage set him back, moving him out of the all-important DRS train. However, Obo kept his head and can be proud of his final result. I'm sure he will be looking forward to round 4, which should prove to be a good one for this driver. Mr. Consistent, as Season 4 champion, knows just what to do to stay in title contention. Keeping it clean and tidy, Jakob finished in a strong P2 in Abu Dhabi and will be a firm favourite going into round 4. Jaguar Paul continues to consistently score good points and is always there to take advantage of errors that may occur ahead. Keeping their Williams team on the scoreboard will be all important going into the next phase of the season. Let's see what they can do later today. M. Dorling finished on the podium last time out, but this driver hasn't really got going in Season 5 as yet. They will be looking to carry some good momentum into round 4 and searching for yet another podium. Spiralex unfortunately ended round 3 with a DNF for his McLaren team. GFR can be a tough league in the early stages of a driver's career, but have no doubt that Spiralex will be practicing aplenty, and I expect to see this driver moving higher up the grid very soon. E36 struggled a little last time out in Abu Dhabi. I expect they will be looking to simply finish the next race and build up their confidence moving into future rounds. We hope E36 stays the course and have no doubt they will soon find their feet and move up the grid alongside their teammate. Emerge produced a stunning victory last time out in Abu Dhabi, in very challenging conditions with no less than 4 drivers hot on their heels. We can't wait to see what this driver can do in round 4. Last time out, Goat Ghosty did incredibly well just to keep his car on the road with heavily worn medium tyres, let alone finish in a strong position. We know Goat has the speed and look forward to seeing what they can do in Zandvoort. SS7 had the speed in Abu Dhabi, but his strategy was undone with the safety car. This has been a much improved season so far for SS7, and it will be tough for the other drivers to challenge the Mercedes team this season. M1 Righty had a very unfortunate coming together with a Red Bull last time out. Starting on hard tyres and maintaining the pace with the lead pack, M1 will be a certain challenger for victory should they participate in round 4. We wish our drivers all the best for Wednesday's race, and if you are watching this for the first time and perhaps fancy taking part, please do follow the link to our Discord and social channels and come and be part of the one-of-a-kind G-Force Racing League. Let's go racing!
Dawling's GFR Digest.
Well, my thanks as always to M. Dawling for putting those words together, and I hope you find that useful just to bring to life some of the drivers that we have gracing the tracks for G-Force Racing. So here are the results from Abu Dhabi last week. Emerge KD's brilliant drive from them, really had the pace over the rest of the field, finishing there with a well-deserved 25 points. Jakob for Mercedes in second, back on the podium again, 18 points for them, keeping in touch, and you'll see in just a moment just how in touch Jakob is with looking to retain their title from Season 4. M. Dawling on the podium after a little bit of an absence, 15 points for them and their Aston Martin team. Goat Ghosty, who I think was a lap away from a puncture last week, managed to bring home their RB in fourth. Then Obo, M. Dawling's teammate, finishing there in fifth. Marcel, after victory in the early stages of Season 5, just managing to get sixth place there. SS7 continuing their run of recent scoring form, at least 6 points for them, so not too bad a day for Mercedes. M1 Righty, a previous double champion for G-Force Racing, finishing there in eighth, but not entirely down to their own fault. They were incredibly strong in the early stages of that race. Then a little bit of a collision took M1 Righty out, and they had to recover back to eighth, so damage limited to some degree for M1. Jaguar Paul finished in ninth, probably one of their weakest scoring positions in recent races for Jaguar Paul, but watch for them to go well here today. And Hummel was back scoring for a second week in a row, still driving as a reserve this week for Red Bull. I think it was Williams the week before, so more points on the board though for Hummel. It was a disastrous week for McLaren. Neither Daddy Tonk, E36 Goat, as we'll now know them on screen, or Spiralex able to get their McLaren to the end of the race, very sadly for them and for us. But I believe both are back this week, looking to make amends for the next round. So what does that do to the driver standings after 3 races here? I'll move the video on in the top right corner, folks, so you can see some more of the racing from last week. So drivers as they stand right now, Jakob leads the way on 48 points, just 5 points clear of Marcelinki there in second on 43. M. Dawling, after their podium finish last week, moves them up 5 places in the standings too, with 33 points there in third. Emerge with that brilliant drive gives them 4th place. M1 Righty on 29 in 5th. Long way to go yet in this season though, folks. Obo on 28. I expect Obo to pick up some form eventually. Sadly for us, Obo is not 100% fit at the moment, under the weather a little bit, but is also standing in for SS7 to actually host today's race. SS7 very unwell, sadly, today. So we wish SS7 a fast recovery, and we thank Obo for stepping in to help the league run its race today, even though he too is also under the weather. So a little bit of sickness through the GFR paddock at the moment, sadly, but we have a very big field out, I think, today. We're going to have somewhere in the region of 15 drivers, so plenty of entertainment to keep us occupied. So Jaguar Paul there on 8th, just below SS7 on 24, Jaguar Paul on 20. Emil should have more points than they have right now, and if you want to watch the replay from Bahrain, you'd see why. Emil was on for a podium position very easily there, but hasn't been able to translate that form into Abu Dhabi, sadly for them, but they've got 19 points on the board in 9th. Goat Ghosty there on 12 has really yet to get their season fired up. But we're starting to come back into it last week in Abu Dhabi, and keep a close eye on Goat Ghosty as they go here today. I don't think we see Geo today. They have got 8 points on the board. Spiralex on 4, as does their teammate Daddy Tonk, or E36 Go, also on 4. Hummel on 3 after 2 scoring finishes for them. Big Tonk, Mr. Hannes and Monty yet to get on the board, but everyone else has got points. And so that means the constructors, Mercedes lead the way at the moment on 72. largely thanks to a very strong performance in Bahrain, where SS7 finished in second, Jakob finished in third. So good scoring week on week from the Mercedes team. But Red Bull are keeping them honest, with Emil and Marcelinki building into a very strong team. Watch out for them. Aston Martin also, I'd say Obo and M. Dorling really not got going yet in Season 5, but there's plenty of races left for Aston Martin to take lead in the Constructors' Championship. Obviously, we don't have AlphaTauri anymore. This is SS7, his outdated graphics, but 42 points for RB there. Alpine on 29, that's the team with M1 Righty in it. Williams on 28, McLaren on 8, Ferrari, Haas and Sauber, not Alfa Romeo, yet to score any points this season. As you can probably tell, folks, there is a little bit of space for additional drivers to come into the league. We have got a good attendance here today, but if you fancy taking part and would like to join the league, please do hit the Discord server link, which you'll find on my Twitch channel and on my YouTube channel. Head over there and the admin team will sign you up and get you into one of those last remaining seats. We race every Wednesday, 8 p.m. UK time in the Elite League, and there's also an Ironman League which runs on every other Sunday. I'll talk a bit more about that a little bit later on. So where are we this week, folks? Well, we've had a cracking start to the season. Japan was round 1. Then we didn't go to China. Sadly, there's a little bit of a bug on that track at the moment in the game, which may be fixed by now, but it wasn't at the time. So the league agreed to go elsewhere, and instead we went to Bahrain, and that gave us a really excellent race, and I say a very strong performance from Emil, which he couldn't quite translate into a podium. But then we headed out to Abu Dhabi last week for round 3. Normally the scene of the grand finale of GFR and the F1 racing in the real world, but we brought that forward in Season 5, and I think that was a good choice because it's going to give us a slightly different ending to Season 5. And this week we head out to the Netherlands, to Zandvoort, the home of Max Verstappen, for a double helping of racing with the GeForce Racing Elite League. We get the sprint race and a feature race. It's set to 50%, much debate about that before we came online earlier. So it's going to be 50% sprint, 50% feature race. That's going to give us plenty of racing to feast our eyes on here on this Wednesday evening. So wherever you are watching from, you are very welcome. Please do remember to hit that follow button, or if you're watching the replay here on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and we'll let you know every time there's a new race available from M1 Racing and GeForce Racing. After we're done in Zandvoort, we head out to the UK and my home track in Silverstone. Very much looking forward to that one next week. Then the first of 3 visits to the US. We're going out to Miami at the beginning of April, soak up some early summer sunshine near the beach. That should be a good one, and try and dice with the walls around the Miami circuit. Then we go to Spa, my favourite F1 track of all time, in Belgium, the home of Emil. That is going to be one to watch, folks. Do not miss that one. Then we go to Barcelona for another sprint. And I failed to mention, actually, it's a sprint in Miami on the 2nd of April also. Then a sprint in Barcelona, then a sprint in Imola the week after. So plenty of sprint rounds. Very much a request of the drivers to do a few more of those. So looking forward to that. And then we go, and Bahrain, I believe, will now become China. So round 10 should be China. And then we finish up Season 5 back in the US for a double helping. Firstly in Vegas and the grand finale in Austin. So switching things up for Season 5. I'm very much looking forward to this one. Okay, I see the drivers have readied up. So we are going to go live with round 4 of the GeForce Racing Elite League from Zandvoort. I will see you there in just a moment. Don't go anywhere, folks. on the inside of Cox. SS7 goes with them. It's wheel to wheel as we head down towards Vale. 3 cars wide coming down the strip. Alright folks, let's go racing. All right, folks, I've just realised I've been speaking on mute for the last 5 minutes, folks, so thanks for sticking with me. So here we are in Zandvoort, the home of Max Verstappen. I was just looking at my telemetry screen, and it's showing that it's overcast, but going to stay dry during sprint qualifying. So there's every chance of a spot of rain here in the Netherlands, with this circuit being right by the coast, right by the North Sea, with the weather likely to roll in at any given moment. So look out for that as we get into the racing. I will certainly do my best to inform you, and if I get any information from the drivers' chat on what they're seeing from their pit teams, I will let you know. It has been known to rain here before, and that's going to give the opportunity to some of our drivers who run best in the wet. Emeleki will be one to watch out for. Victorious here in Season 2 in the wet, and really does handle wet conditions very, very well. Looks as though Emerge is going to be one of the first drivers to get a time on the board in sprint qualifying. Emerge victorious last week in Abu Dhabi, sets a 113.241, puts them on provisional pole. There will be many, many more to come. We saw Spiralex earlier on, just trying to get their car sorted out. Looks as though Spiralex on soft tyres, and that will be, yeah, so some of our drivers thinking about which tyres to go out on during sprint qualifying. So the way this works, folks, if you're unfamiliar with the F1 24 game or F1 in general, we get one qualifying session for the sprint race, then we do the sprint race, then we do qualifying for the feature race. And Spiralex really does seem to be struggling with some connectivity there. So get down to Ben. Oh, welcome, Ben. So I race in Ben's league on a Friday, and if Wednesdays doesn't suit you, I could certainly recommend Ben's league on a Friday. But welcoming them to GeForce Racing this Wednesday, driving for Ferrari. Ben has some pace, so we look forward to them going well round here in Zandvoort. Looks as though they're just still setting up, not quite happy with that. So we are starting to see some times on the board. And just to make my life interesting here, folks, so we have a stand-in for SS7, who I mentioned is sadly very unwell. So Jakob Plotska, who's our Season 4 champion, is joined today in the Mercedes garage by another Jakob. So I'm going to have Jakob H and Jakob O. here for Mercedes this week. If I say Jakob and Mercedes, we're going to be 50% right, at least most of the time. So Jakob H takes a provisional pole at the moment with a 109.643, and their teammate with a 109.794. So very evenly matched, these two Mercedes drivers. And Jakob O, thank you ever so much for stepping in for SS7. He will not be too disappointed from a team perspective to see you setting times like that. Marcel, race victor from round one, is one with a 110.160, is in provisional P3. Emerged, as we saw, set their 110.318. Deguapor's got an early time on the board, a 110.428. Goat Ghosty, a 111.037. E36 Goat, certainly in touch with Goat's time there. The two Goats side by side, 111.042 for E36 Goat. Obo with a 111.052, trying to shake off whatever illness they're carrying with them in that car at the moment, but certainly competitive time for them. Big Tonk, welcome back, Big Tonk. Oh, that's unfortunate timing to come to you. Seeing the very edge of this circuit here in Zandvoort, touching the wall, 111.843 for them. And Emil, watch for that time to come down for Emil, 115.272 for them. There it does, a 110.193 as we're with Emil as they come over the line. Let's get down to M. Dorling, and we'll ride on board with M. Dorling. Zaydash will come back to M. Dorling in just a moment, still warming up those medium tyres. So yeah, these drivers being very selective about what tyres they use in sprint qualifying, because this will impact what tyres they have available to them in the race itself and in future qualifying and the sprint feature race. M1 Righty on brand new softs goes quickest of everyone at 109.458, but not massively quicker than Jakob, who set that time on mediums. So M. Dorling's going for a flying lap of the Zandvoort circuit. So let's ride on board as we plough down into Tarzan Corner. Tight line from M. Dorling, and there are multiple routes through Tarzan as we get through this really banked curb here at turn 3. We don't have to worry about the yellow flags, folks. That is just cars getting out of the way and slowing down, making room for others. We're going to be flat out with M. Dorling through turn 6, 7, then down to 8, drop of the gear into 8, then round into 9, keeping the control of this Aston Martin as best as we can as we do. Then the tricky turn 10 before we get into the first of 2 DRS zones here. Then into the chicane of 11 and 12. Back on the power again. Not too much curb from M. Dorling on the exit of 12. Then 13. We want to get this right. We want to carry as much speed as we go around the bank curb of 14. Flat out for the Aston Martin over the little hump. And that's M. Dorling saying they have had enough of that lap. There is Big Tonk with the 111.785 for them. Did improve very slightly. Goat Ghosty has gone quicker, 109.785, and has decided to stick it out on those now 4-lap-old medium tyres. So not a bad lap time at all from Goat Ghosty. And I believe, if I check my timing screen, that was done on the very last lap for them. Indeed, it was. So good time there from Goat as they go in for a new set of wheels. Jakob is on another outlap, and let's go to their teammate, Jakobo. And Spirax rejoining, so I think Spirax struggling with some connectivity. I see Ben is questioning in the driver's chat whether or not they're supposed to be doing quali on medium tyres. They've obviously seen what's going on with the rest of the drivers, but Obo, who's hosting this evening, just clarifying that no, they can do it on any tyres that they choose. It's just that many of our drivers have chosen their first laps to be done on mediums. So they've certainly got a banker in, and now we see many of them now coming out on soft tyres. So Jakobo, who we welcome to G-Force Racing, looks as though they're pushing here to go into the second DRS zone. They are indeed pushing. You see the battery discharging there of the ERS. It's a very smooth driving style from Jakob. here as they come out of 12, heading down to 13. We want a really good exit out of here. We're going to take every inch of speed we have as we go through this banked corner, heading down towards the start-finish line. Jacobo goes faster with a 109.162. Well, Jakub Lodski, you have found yourself one cracking teammate, it would seem. Here comes Jacob H, pick up a bit of a slipstream from the Red Bull that's heading into the pit lane. So Jakub Lodski is in to the 108s. So Mercedes looking very strong here at the moment. That's Jacob getting very much out of the way. So Marcelinki, victorious in Japan, has not really had the races go their way ever since. But Marcel, who also is in Ben's League, is very, very quick. And if they can hook up this Red Bull around this tight, twisty circuit here in Zandvoort, will be one to watch out for sure. M1 Righty has had enough of sprint qualifying. 109.458 is their final time. So that could be M1 Righty either having a disconnection issue or they're going to save those tyres. Remember, strategy is going to play as much of a part here throughout the two races as the actual times will as well. Goat Ghosty also doing the same. So M1 and Goat having locked in those times. Marcelinki looking to try and improve, and I can help us see that if I bring up the lap data as well. Also bring up the track map. As Marcel crosses the line, I think they're going to go again. So yeah, here goes Marcel. Let's ride on board with him as they go on a flying lap here. Around what I think is probably a bit too tight for an F1 car, but it does bring us some excellent racing. Only 4.2 kilometres long, this circuit, and there's 14 corners in that 4.2 kilometres. More than Monza. That's how tightly squished together this circuit is. There are two DRS zones, and we're coming up to the first of them in just a moment as Marcel is looking to improve on their early time of a 110.160. We're coming through sector 2 right now. We'll get a sense in a moment if Marcel is improving. They're up by over half a second, so it's big improvements here for Marcel. We've got 1/3 of the lap to go through sector 3 here. Good line from Marcel. You don't want to get too wide on those curbs. They will suck you into the wall on the left-hand side and the gravel. Marcel crosses the start-finish line with a 109.226, moves them into provisional P4. Jaguar Poor has just followed behind them with a 109.425. So good lap from the Williams. Watch out for Jaguar Poor. They know how to read a race here. And bear in mind, if our drivers get this entirely wrong in the sprint, they get to go all again in the feature race. So it's no longer about finishing position in the sprint to influence your start position in the feature race. They get to qualify all over again. But this is an opportunity to pick up more points. Points only for the top 8 finishers here. Hey M1, good to have you on the Twitch chat. Tell me, as you're here watching on the stream at the moment, is that retirement to save tyres, or had you just had enough of sprint quali? So Jaguar Poor sending a good time here. Emil with a 109.617. I don't think Emil is going to improve on that. No, indeed, that is the end of sprint quali. So that is their final classification. Yeah, go well today, and look forward to a good performance from you. So Jakob is Jakob H, I should say, on pole position for the sprint. Emerge KDs, we didn't see that one sneak in a 109.057. Then one hasn't done sprint quality before. Okay, well there you go. We're all learning here. Jacobo in 3rd, Marcelinki in 4th, Jaguar Poor 5th, M1 Righty 6th, Emil in 7th, Goat Ghosty in 8th, Obo 9th, M Dorling 10th, E36 Goat 11th, Ben Whelan 12, Hommel 13, Spiralex 14 that we can see on there. So that's our starting order for the sprint race. We are not going to have very many laps at all here, folks. This will be over in a flash. No time for us to blink here. So we will wait for our drivers to line up on the grid. We can see them at the right-hand side of the screen there, folks, just getting ready to go. No formation lap. When you see the 5 lights come on and go out, we are going to go racing. Our drivers will be ploughing down into turn 1, trying to find the ideal line through there, whilst also trying to avoid everyone else around them. So watch for some wheel banging in there. We hope everyone makes their way through safely for what is going to be the first sprint round of G-Force Racing in Season 5. Remember, points only for the top 8. Everything to play for here. Don't need to worry about where you finish here. You might as well go for it. So expect some of our drivers to be quite aggressive through some of the early corners. Not a huge amount of overtaking opportunities. One of them is into turn 1 at the end of the DRS zone that follows the main pit straight here. And the other one will be into turn 10 at the end of the DRS zone there. So we'll see a lot of cars bunched up very closely together in the early stages of this race, also trying to hang on to those front wings as much as they can. So we're just waiting for our drivers to get ready here, and we'll be going live. Let me just take a look and see if we're getting any more information on weather. Not just yet. That will come up on my screen once we get the lights on the grid. Quite a long hold here. Right, okay, we're ready to go. 5 lights are on. All right, folks, let's go racing with the G-Force Racing Elite League here in Zandvoort, the sprint race. Jacob's had a great launch, as has Marcel, into 3rd place very early on, through on Jacob. Jacobo, that is. Jaguar also up into 4th place. So Jakub Loska leads us away. Emerge has gone with them. Then comes Marcelinki, having dropped back a little bit, having got through on Jacobo. Jacobo has had a pretty tough start, it would seem. They're going backwards here right now. It looks as though it's going on between Obo and M1 Righty as we come round through turn 7. Down through 8, then into 9. Obo's having to drop back in behind Emil. Emil's had a good start up into 6th. Jakob is still out there in front, but it's all happening in the midfield here. We'll put the tyres up very, very quickly because it's going to happen. So here we go. So Emil's on soft tyres in the sprint race. The front runners. Oh, and that's a sideways big tonk. Or was that Hummel? That was one of the Saubers going very sideways. That sadly was Hummel coming into turn 11. It's staying dry for the sprint, folks, but that's dropped Hummel all the way back. So Jakob crosses the line in 1st place, but only just from Emerge, as Emerge has the inside of turn 1. Jakob holds on to the outside, and Emerge has to tuck in behind Jakob one more time, back into 2nd place. We'll see drivers going side by side through that corner time after time. Marcel hanging on to 3rd. Let's get to Emil, who's got to make the best of these soft tyres early on in this race. They will go off very, very quickly here, but should give Emil all sorts of extra grip in the early laps. We only have 12 laps. We're on to the 2nd one already. Bit too much curb from Emil there. Unsettles their Red Bull. Will need to recompose themselves and get back onto the rear end of the 2nd Jakob in the Mercedes ahead. DRS now enabled. We heard that beep from Emil as we cross the activation point. Pulls right behind the Mercedes of Jacobo. Our drivers thinking carefully about strategy here in terms of how they leverage their extra boost of battery that they have. We can see Emil dumping a whole bunch of it there as the lap times tumble as we start lap 3. Emil cannot find a way past, and they are under pressure from the fast charging Obo behind them. Obo looking to get through on Emil now. Can Obo go the long way around? And there's a tap from the rear of the rear end from Emil. The car in front loses a bit of Emil's big chunk, actually, of Emil's front wing. That's really going to hamper them with downforce around this ever so tight and twisty circuit, and that sends Emil off into the gravel with no grip at all. Emil doing pretty well to keep that Red Bull, I should say, pointing in the right direction. They've had to go the long way round, and that for Emil is going to be the end of their sprint race. Very tight racing here as we've got Jakob and M1 Righty going wheel to wheel down into turn 11. M1 tucks back in behind the Mercedes. So M1 trying to make progress now in the sprint race. Very few points at play here, but still points nonetheless. And at this early stage in the season, you want to get as many points on the board as you can. Goat Ghosty here in 8th. Now on the rear end of Obo. Goes down the inside of Obo. Brakes much later than the Aston Martin. That sends Goat into 7th place and can now chase after M1 Righty in front of them. M1, Obo, Goat Ghosty, Marcel, Jakob and Emerge KDs all have a shout for the championship this season, as does M. Dorling, currently down there in 9th. So M. Dorling and those soft tyres really not working. And we can see actually the soft tyres, you can see a real split here that the soft tyres were not the tyre to be on. Does look as though the mediums have an awful lot more pace. Those softs have disappeared almost immediately. And we're only on lap 4 of the 12 available. So Goat now trying to close down on M1 Righty, but M1 Righty has also got designs on Jacobo and Jaguar Paul and Marcel in front of them. The DRS train now forming pretty much from first all the way down to Ben Whelan in the Ferrari in 10th. So Goat on the rear end now of M1 Righty. M1 Righty shaping for a move on Jacobo. Ducks to the inside. Goat goes late and very late. Tries to find a way around. That's compromised them. Does that give Obo an opportunity? No, Obo too far back from Goat Ghosty there. Goat looking for an aggressive move around the outside. Couldn't make it work. Tucks back in, but does look as though Goat has got an awful lot of extra grip here as they've come out of turn 3. And indeed, Goat goes down the inside as we plough through turn 7. Nice move from Goat Ghosty up into 6th as they've followed M1 Righty through. And that's Goat trying to find a way on the Alpine as well. So Goat looking very racy as we approach the halfway stage of the sprint race here from Zandvoort. Now M1 looks to make a move on Jaguar Paul. Jaguar Paul, good start from them here, but locks up as they go into 11. Will compromise their exit out of 12. About 50% charge from M1 Righty in the Alpine. They'll have an eye on Goat Ghosty. Got to watch their mirrors as they try and find a way through. Goat's looking to make a charge. Can M1 find a way through? The lights blinking. Oh, and that's Goat has made their way on the inside. Lost grip on the inside, though, of turn 1. Has to back out and try again. Cracking battle here as there's a massive moment for the Alpine of M1 Righty going through turn 3. So M1 recovers from that and emerges now, pushing Jakob Lodska. Jakob's pretty much led from the first lap here, but has not got away from Emerge, from Marcel, from Jaguar Paul, M1, Goat Ghosty, Jacobo, Obo, and M. Dorling. Ben Whelan has brought E36 Goat into play here as well, so a good drive from E36. Down there in 11th at the moment. Remember, our driver's only fussing over points for first to 8th. But one mistake here and you could be tumbling all the way down or moving all the way up. So every move is critical in the sprint. We're halfway through. 6 more laps to go here. Jakob continues to lead, but his Emerge is shaping for a move. They will have the inside going into turn 1 easily through, and Marcel trying to follow through on Jakob. Jakob defending stoutly on the outside, will have the faster exit and at least hangs on to second. And Jakob can now sit behind Emerge. Emerge can do the hard graft of trying to break the air in front of them and drag everyone else with them. So M1 is really hassling Jaguar Paul here now. Jaguar Paul, I wouldn't say it's in the cork in the bottle, though. They are really hanging on nicely to this front runners. And Jaguar Paul makes a late move on the inside of Marcel. That hasn't worked out. And that's given the opportunity for M1 Righty to come through. Goat is going to try and make the same move now on Jaguar Paul. It was an ambitious move, but you've got to try something here. And Jaguar Paul loses it on the inside of turn 11. Sad for them, and that's a yellow flag. I don't think we'll get a safety car in the sprint race. But unfortunately for Jaguar that's them out of the race. It was always going to be tight into that corner. And unfortunately, Jaguar has missed out. So Hummel here is trying to recover in 12th. Big Tonk here in 11th, but a long way back from this chain of cars. And I'm very delighted to see the McLaren of E36 Goat there in 10th. They've hung on to this train of drivers. Another yellow flag, and that's sadly, I think that's Emil. No, that's Emil right at the way. Emil has DNF, Spiralex has DNF'd. So Emerge continues to lead and is trying to stretch out a bit of a lead on Jakob there in second. Then comes Marcelinki and M1 Ricey now in fourth. Ghosty in fifth. They've not let M1 Ricey get away. Jacobo is sticking to the rear end of Ghosty, but M. Dorling has not let these guys get away. Obo back there in 8th. Still hanging on. Oh, that's Obo going very wide through turn 13. And that promotes E36 Goat. So a moment there for Obo. Drops them back down. Promotes E36 Goat. E36 now looking to find a way through on Ben Whelan in the Ferrari. Ben now outside the range of DRS of M. Dorling. So is exposed down those DRS straights. We need to get to the front though, folks, because it's all going to come down to this in the latter stages. Marcelinki as M1 Ricey's got very, very close to the rear end of the Red Bull. That then concertinaed up Ghosty and Jacobo into the back of those cars. And a move by Jacobo trying to find a way through on Ghosty. Couldn't make that one work. We saw Jaguar try a similar move a few moments ago. There's so much less grip on the inside of that corner. And it looks like Marcel is being passed by M1 right into turn 11. So M1 righty through, up into third place. Podium position for them now here in the sprint race. Can M1 make up another place on Jakob Loska? He's dispensed with one Mercedes. Can he dispense with the second one? But Marcel is coming back now at Ghosty. And M1 Ricey. So Marcel through, and that's dragged Ghosty with them. So Ghosty goes through, braking ever so late into turn 1, to Tarzan there for the RB, but it's working out for Goat, who's now in fourth. M1 Ricey in a couple of corners has dropped back to fifth, having been in third just before that start-finish straight. So Marcel now into third. Emerge seemingly, in relative terms, safe here in the front of this race. Jakob not pressuring them, but maybe saving their battery for the final stages. Just 2 more laps to go after this one, folks, of the sprint race. So Marcel doing their best to get back on the rear end of Jakob. Now M1 Righty hassling Ghosty. Goat loses the back end of the RB. That puts M1 Righty alongside as we head down towards turn 11. Slide from the Alpine. That will give the traction. Oh, and I think that's Goat's caught the front end there of M1 Righty. That's turned Goat around. So M1's now in fourth. M. Dorling's all the way up now into fifth. So M. Dorling picking up the pieces here. Has got a long way to go to make up the 1.5 seconds to Marcel. But certainly benefiting from everything that's gone on before them. I dare say those soft tyres have felt better than they do on lap 11. And M. Dorling will have M1 Righty now right behind them. I did see a little bit of bodywork fly off in that contact between Ghosty and M1 Righty. So I don't know if that was M1 who picked up damage. Not according to my telemetry screen, so it looks as though M1 is okay at least. Jacobo has dropped off of this chasing pack now, down there in 6th. But Ben Whelan, very good performance from then now into 7th. And E36 Goat continuing to track the Ferrari ahead of them as Jaguar gets fastest lap of 110.677. I don't think we give an extra point for fastest lap in the sprint, but I could be wrong. SS7 will let me know that later on. But a very good drive from Ben and E36 Go, who are now in points paying positions, largely thanks to that spin by Goat Ghosty and the wide Oboe. So we're on the final lap of the race. It's going to come down to the final corners here in Zandvoort in the sprint. Emerge has been passed once again by Jakob. So Jakob was conserving those tyres and that battery for one last charge. Can they take victory here in the sprint? Will it be maximum points for them? Can Emerge find a way past? They've had some good pace here, and this bodes well for the feature race coming up after this one. The Jakob looks strong. That Jakob looks very strong, but can Emerge find a way past? Not much battery left for Emerge as they come into that DRS zone. They will have DRS here. We head down to turn 11. Then we'll have 12, 13, 14 and the finish line. Not long left for Jakob to hold on or Emerge to make a move. Master Linky has dropped back from Emerge. They're not going to challenge here. M1 Righty is 2 seconds back. So Jakob is going to win the sprint round here in Zandvoort. Emerge comes home in second. Master Linky in third. M1 Righty in fourth. M. Dorling in fifth. Good recovery from them. Jakob O in sixth. Ben Whelan in seventh. And E36 Goat in eighth. Ahead of the other Goat of Goat Ghosty there in ninth. I dare say some discussion about to occur in the driver's chat about that moment coming out of turn 12 between M1 and Goat Ghosty. But that's the finishing order we have on screen, folks. Jakob Plotska picks up the first sprint victory of season 5 here, and we get all the way down to Jacob Appor, who was having such a great race, running there in around 4th and 5th for a big chunk of the race, and got it all wrong, all that very tight turn 11 with Goat, and sadly for them, he's going to be the last to come over the line here. But they did pick up fastest lap in the process. I dare say winning, got a new bit of front wing. So Ben Whelan gets driver of the sprint race, and I don't blame the game for that either. Good drive from Ben here in Zandvoort. Jakob is the victor though, 8 points for them. Emerge KD is in second, Master Linky in third, then M1 Righty in fourth, M. Dorling in fifth. Jakob O on their debut with the GeForce Racing Elite League comes home in sixth in the sprint. There's Ben Whelan there in seventh, and E36 Goat picks up the last point there. Ghosty finished in ninth, Oboe in 10th, who was going pretty well for a big chunk of that race, but that very wide moment through 13 put paid to any hopes of points for that particular Aston Martin driver. I'm just scanning the driver's chat, folks, just to see what may have gone on. Oboe had damage from lap 2, so that's really hampered them and probably explains why they went a bit wide in 13. So bear with me, folks, we'll have a sip of water and we will get underway with qualifying for the feature race here. So we've got an 18-minute qualifying session now. We've reset everything. No finishing order decided, no starting order decided from the sprint race. We go again. So we're 80 minutes qualifying here for our drivers to reset themselves on the grid, and then we will have the feature race where strategy is going to be much more important. It's going to be a dry qualifying session, which is good news for our drivers, and we'll see if we get any reports of what the weather's looking like for the race. It does look, actually, the race prediction does indicate it may well be dry. So our drivers can pretty much focus on putting a dry setup on here. And it's going to be all about the pace and the strategy. I was intrigued to see how the soft tyres actually went during the sprint race there. Many of those soft runners actually came back into it towards the latter stages. So perhaps they go and then come back again, those soft tyres. But certainly some of those Soft runners had more pace than I anticipated they would do. We've just got the one driver out on track so far. That's Emerge KDs. Second place there from the sprint race. So not a bad start to their race day here in the Netherlands. And we'll see if I know it looks as though Emerge is out on medium tyres as well. So some of our drivers thinking they'll hold on to a supply of softs at least into the feature race itself. But we saw from qualifying in the sprint that there's not a huge amount of difference lap time wise between the mediums and the softs. And if the softs do not actually deteriorate as much as we perhaps thought they might, then they may become a race tyre of choice for our drivers. Only time will tell. Let's ride on board with Emerge. As they negotiate turn 1, heading through turns 3 and turns 2 and 3. Then this huge banked curve of 3, which you can use to kind of slingshot your car around. There are multiple lines through there. You'll see in the real world the drivers go quite high through turn 3. Then we're going to be pretty much flat out through 4, 5, 6 and 7 before we have to get on the brakes into turn 8, which is tighter than you might imagine, and 9 and 10, and then 10 is the tricky one. You want to get on the power, and then the back end just wants to let go on you. So this is just a sighter lap for Emerge. Don't expect this to be their fastest time, but it is going to be the first one on the board here. Plenty of time for us in feature race qualifying. 14 minutes left to go. At least a couple of lap opportunities here. 110.106, very respectable. Remember that Jakob got a 108, I think, 0.9 in sprint qualifying. So more than a second's going to be needed if Emerge is going to be on pole for the feature race. But they are at least on the board. Let's get down to Jacobo with points in the sprint on their debut with G-Force Racing. Comes over to set a time 109.759. First driver into the 109s in qualifying here for the feature race. Here's Goat going again. Okay, so Goat, brand new soft tyres for them. We go through 3. Goat taking a very tight line through 3. Up the hill now, accelerating hard. As we go through these sweeping turns of 4, 5, 6, then 7, then 8. No lift at all for the RB driver. Swings the RB into 9. There's this 10. Don't want to get on the curb. That will spin your car around on the inside. Does drift out a little bit while we hit the DRS button on the power. Down into 11, where we saw many cars trying to avoid each other through there, but still try and overtake. Then 13. Bit wide there, missed the apex there from Goat as they came through 13. That's not the worst line if you can carry the speed. Goat's going to come over the line for a 109.201, half a second quicker than anybody else so far. But bear in mind that Jakob and Emerge did those lap times on mediums. That's a lap from Goat on brand new soft tyres. Big Tonk with a 110.610. Good lap, Big Tonk. Certainly competitive in the Sauber. Good to have Big Tonk back with us this week. So 110.610 for Big Tonk. Let's get with Obo. We hope Obo is not feeling too bad in there. I'm sure the result of the sprint race won't be making them feel any better, of course, but they are going here right now. So trying to get a time on the board. You won't see too much in the way of teamwork through DRS zones today because there really isn't much to play with here in Zandvoort. So it's very much focus on your lap. So much tighter line there from Obo compared to Goat Ghosty. Much more aggressive turning from the RB compared to the Aston Martin as well. Obo crosses the line with a 1:10.903. That's their size of lap. They are on the board. Let's get down to Hommel. We didn't spend much time with them during previous qualifying or the sprint, so let's give them some airtime here. Hommel scoring back-to-back races here with G-Force Racing. Races as a reserve typically. I'm sure they'll be delighted to get a permanent seat, and if they keep scoring, many teams I'm sure will be delighted to have them. Settling in here to League Racing, which is not the easiest thing to do, very different to racing the AI in the game. Much more unpredictable as we come into turn 1 with Hommel, through Tarzan, back on the power on the exit. Through turn 2, then into 3. Again, our driver's dipping down into that dip, then riding back up the hill. Very close to the grass on the outside. Hommel trying to find the shortest line around this track. The slight lift through 7, heading down to 8, drop a gear into 9. Ooh, that's a bit wide from Hommel as we entered 9. That will lose them a whole bunch of time. And now they've got to navigate 10. Goat goes fastest overall, 109.111 for the RB. Provisional pole for Goat Ghosty at the moment. And I think that might be the best strategy here when the race begins. You've got to be towards the front of the running order to stand any hope of taking victory here, it would seem today. It's so tight between so many of these drivers. Hommel coming round the final corner. Over the start-finish line, and Hommel's on the board with a 111.584 for them. Jakub Lodska here, looking to get their first time on the board, riding on medium tyres for the Mercedes runner, leading the championship right now, but only for a handful of points for Marcelinki. Jakub certainly has a target on their back after claiming that Season 4 championship, but has been accumulating points week on week still here in Season 5. We head down into 11. Trying to avoid too much dirty air from, I think that's a Sauber in front of us who's got out of the way. Thank you to them. Through 13, back on the power. And drivers really on the limit as they come through there. Try and get the fastest line possible. Jakub's going to come over for a 109.304 on medium tyres, folks, remember. Go having set their lap time on brand new softs. Down to Marcelinki. Neither of the Red Bull drivers yet to get a time on the board. Marcel back on the power through 12. It doesn't look as though they're pushing yet. Does not look as though they're pushing yet. They're certainly saving their tyres, and I think maybe it's a warm-up lap, a second warm-up lap for these soft tyres. But maybe these softs are just not getting up to temperature. But 110.529, but Marcel using very, very little battery there. But not a bad lap time without using any battery. Good lap from them, 110.529. If Marcel is going again, Goat Ghosty goes quicker again on very old soft tyres. So these softs are not bad at all. 108.836 for Goat. That is quick. So Goat is the one to catch right now. We've got yellow flags all over the place. That's a Sauber off in the gravel. That really is a genuine yellow flag. We won't get safety cars here in qualifying. So Marcel, I believe, is trying one more time to improve on that 110.529. Yeah, we can see much more battery used on this lap by Marcelinki. As they come through turn 12. Watch the line that Marcel takes through 13. A bit more curb, but not much on the exit. Keeps the car stable. They come through this banked corner. And Marcel crosses the line for a 109.332. So Goat Ghosty leads the way. M1 Righty with a 109.712 on some medium tyres. So very respectable lap time. Watch for Jakub Lodska and M1 Righty as we go into the latter stages of qualifying here to go significantly faster. Jakob just switching on to brand new softs in the pit lane. Let's get down to Emil, has yet to come out. We're with M. Dorling here, looking to get their first time on the board. Their teammate of Obo's got a 110.473. That was set on medium tyres. Obo's just switched over to some brand new softs. So M. Dorling looking to get a banker lap in here. And we'll see a mixture of strategies when the race gets underway, with drivers thinking about undercuts, overcuts, fuel, weather, safety cars, all manner of things. And Zandvoort throws up a whole bunch of surprises for us. Ben Whelan, E36 Go, as well as Emelecki, yet to get a time on the board. As I say, that E36 does get a 1:15.032 on the board. Ben is also on a lap right now. We'll go and check in with Ben in a moment. Oh, Ben sets a 1:10.736. M. Dorling sets a 1:10.529. We've got 5 minutes left of qualifying left to go. Emelecki, the only driver yet to set a time here in the Netherlands. Everyone else has at least a time on the board. The majority of our drivers sat in the pit lane waiting for the right moment to go. It's going to get super busy in the last few minutes here of qualifying with many drivers. We've got 15 drivers with us today, this week, folks, which is excellent to see, but it's going to get very busy out on track before we are done in the last 4.5 minutes of qualifying. There's Big Tonk on a new outlap. There was Ben setting that 1:10.736. Wonder if Ben is going again. They might be setting up one more time. Ben's got to think carefully about this. There's not an awful lot of time left. If they go one more time, they've got to do essentially 2 more laps. So is Ben coming in? Yeah, Ben is coming into the pit lane. Who is out there? So Jacobo. There we go. Jacob O is on another lap. Looks as though they are purple in Sector 1. So going well so far for the second Jakob in the Mercedes team. A 109.759 was their last time out. Best time to beat so far, 108.836, remember, folks. Set by Goat Ghosty on 5-lap-old soft tyres. Goat will be looking to grab victory here. That will be their first of Season 5 after having aced the first half of Season 4. We've been surprised to see Goat not get a lot more in the way of points. As Jacobo gets a 109.064, but that time from Goat Ghosty looks pretty unbeatable at the moment. Emerge KDs is certainly hoping that they might be able to do something about it. A 109.9292 was their best so far with 3 minutes left. That is Emerge warming up their soft tyres. Not yet on a hot lap. It's starting to get very busy out there as our drivers take the final few moments. Marcelinki has had enough. They've retired on that 109.332. Provisional P5 for them at the moment, but expect some of these drivers to go a touch faster than Marcel and will push the Red Bull driver a bit further down the grid. Jaguar Paws on and out on a hot lap as well, 109.953 for them so far. As the rest of the grid leaves the pits, only E36 Goat, M1 Righty and Goat Ghosty sat there. Wouldn't be surprised if Goat decides just to stick on that 108.836. It's a very strong time. So can Emerge get anywhere close? They're going to have to improve by more than 4 tenths here, folks. So I seem to have lost the lap data again. Let's put that back up. Keep an eye on top right corner of your screen, folks. Can Emerge improve? They're going to need at least a tenth per sector here to get into P2. And we're 1/10 down already. So it doesn't look as though Emerge is going to do it. Jakob Loska does, though. 108.801 for Jakob. So that's got them pole position. And with Goat Ghosty still in the pit lane, I don't think Goat is going to take that from them. We saw that Emerge was not improving. They are still that 10th away. Indeed, Goat has decided to retire. They won't be coming back out. 109.502 for Jaguar Paw as they pull out the way. M1 Righty is on an outlap. They are going to go again. We'll keep a close eye on them. Oboe is 4/10 up already. They're going to be most likely in the 109s. They're going to have to go an awful lot quicker, but they're only in Sector 1 so far. So 4/10 up already. Their teammate of M. Dorling is also out there looking to improve. Then comes Spiralex with a 110.588. Unlikely to improve on that. Oboe seems to have lost a little bit of time in Sector 2. Only now just 100th up on their previous time. So it doesn't look as though Oboe's going to be going too far. We are going to get to M1 Righty in just a moment. We'll see if M. Dorling is improving as they come through Sector 2. They are half a second up, so it's going well for M. Dorling. Remember, their earlier time set on medium tyres, So they're now on brand new soft tyres, looking to go faster. Jakob was a 10th faster than Goat Ghosty in Sector 3, which was the notable difference as M. Dorling crosses the line with a 109.825 for them. We've got to get to M1 Righty. They are nearly 6/10 up right now. So looking to close in on Jaguar Paw, Marcel, Emerge KDs, Jakob O and Jakob Loska, as well as Goat Ghosty up there. M1 powering down towards the line with a 108.964. That's P3 for M1 Righty. Jakob's held on to P1. Can anyone do anything about it? M. Dorling definitely cannot. Will it be E36 Goat as they come round the final corner here? This time has run out here in qualifying. 110.256 for E36 Goat. Improves by over half a second, but only good enough to move them up into 12th. Who else is out there? Oboe is out there. Are they going again? It does look as though they're pushing, and we'll have a tow from their teammate in front of them. Well, I didn't think we'd see teamwork here today, but looks like we've got it. And it's worked for Oboe up into 7th place. So great work from the Aston Martin team has dragged Oboe into 7th place on the running order for the start of the feature race. And that is qualifying here for the feature race for round 4 of the G-Force Racing Elite League. So don't go anywhere, folks. This is going to be an absolute belter. So Jakob on pole position with a 108.801, with Goat Ghosty just a fraction behind them on 108.836. That's our front row. Then comes M1 Righty and Jakobo, the new teammate of our champion Jakob Plodska. Then emerges alongside Marcelinki. Then comes Oboe and Jaguar Paw, followed by Emeliki and M. Dorling. Then it's Ben Whelan alongside E36 Goat, Big Tonk, Spiralex, and I think that Hommel will be down there in 15th. So same procedure as before. You'll see our drivers line up on the grid, and then we are going to go racing. 5 lights and we go. No formation lap for us here. All our drivers will need to make one mandatory pit stop to change onto a different compound of tyres. It's going to be fascinating to see what strategies our drivers have gone for. If I remember, I will put the tyres up as quickly as I can for us so we can see what everyone has decided to do. The weather prediction does appear to be dry throughout, as far as I'm seeing, but that could change at any moment. So we'll see what comes up there. We had a long hold for the sprint race start, so we may have the same here as our drivers just make final tweaks to their settings, their strategies, fuel loads, etc. There's probably a lot of thinking going on in those cars and in the garages right now as to the best strategy. Will teammates go on the same strategy? There's a real risk of double stacking here in Zandvoort, so you do not want to be too close to your teammate when there is a safety car or a scheduled pit stop, because you can lose a massive amount of time here. Although it's quite a short pit lane in general terms, you've got to go all the way round the inside of Tarzan to get back out onto the circuit. So, and you're travelling substantially slower by then than everyone else on track. So pit strategy is going to be very important for our drivers to get right. We do have a very long hold at the moment. Do hope this isn't game. Right, no, good. We are ready to go. Lights are coming on. 5 lights are on. All right, folks, let's go racing. The feature race here in Zandvoort with the G-Force Racing Elite League, and a brilliant start from M1 Writers. Got through on it on Ghosty immediately. Jacobo up on the inside, or trying to find a way through on Marcel. Hasn't got through. Marcel holds on to 4th. But a brilliant start from M1 Righty. Can quickly get onto the rear end of Jakub Loska. This is going to be one to watch for, folks. I think that was important for M1 to get through on the other drivers as quickly as possible. Jakub went very wide. Appeared to be heading off into the scenery through 7. Managed to hold on to it and has retained the lead of this race. I said I'd bring up tyres quickly, but we'll just see if there's any immediate position changes. So Hommel up 3 immediately. E36 go up 2. Dorling up 1. Marcellus up 2. M1, as we saw, got through on Ghosty very, very early on. And that's worked out well for them. So let's put the tyres on. Okay, so good start from M1 and from Goat on those mediums. They can hang on to the rear end of Jakub for any substantial period of time. This race could well come to them. So I imagine we're going to see a soft, medium, and a medium soft strategy here. And we'll see how that plays out. So softs, maybe not such a bad race tyre after all. Or certainly our drivers hoping that it's not going to be. So Jakub leads the way, 3/10 ahead of M1 Righty. Then comes Goat Ghosty. These drivers will be happy to sit there, push Jakub, get those soft tyres to wear out, and then hope that the medium grip will come to them. Let's get down the running order with Marcel in 4th, Jacobo in 5th. Then comes Emerge. Don't count Emerge out at this stage. They will look to push later on in the race. Then comes Obo, holding on to 7th position at these early stages. Good start from them. Then Jaguar Paul, we've got a yellow flag. That is Emeleki. Sadly, that is Emeleki facing the wrong way. So not the best of starts here for Emil on a track they have been victorious at in the wet, beating the Season 1 champion in SHS Predestinato in Season 2. And it was just a brilliant drive from them that day. But it's not working out for Emil right now. And I'll tell you why, Emil. It's because you didn't start on hard tyres. Forget they're probably no good round here. You should have started on hards. That would be the reason why, Emil. But keep going. Keep going. There's a long way to go. And I will be surprised if we have 15 drivers finishing this race. And points, remember, available for everyone from 1st down to 10th. M1 Righty, as we were looking at Emil, has got through on Jakub. And so trying to pull away already from Jakub. And it does look as though M1 has got some good early pace here. But maybe Jakub's just trying to recharge their battery so they can go again. Go Ghosty, unless M1 starts to pull away substantially. We'll look to hang on just behind Jakub, conserve those tyres and push a little bit later on. Marcel there in 4th. Then Jakub, we were with Emerge before we were alerted to the spinning Emeleki. Then Obo there in 7th. And Jaguar Paul, who we saw going well in the sprint. Oh, and that's a Mercedes. Big accident. That's got to be a safety car. Jakub O into the barrier there. And indeed, safety car. That was a massive crash. I only caught, I think, with the last few moments of that. But big crash for Jakub. I hope they are okay. But that's a big miss. Ben is in straight away as they came past the pit lane early onto hard tyres. Ben is going to tough it out to the end of this race now on hard tyres. We'll see if that strategy pays dividends. Emeleki is in, no surprise for them. Will Emil go on to hards? We'll see in just a moment. Softs for Emil. So Emil looking to get back into the fight here. They know that the other drivers ahead of them have got to pit. and you can gain at least a good second or so a lap with a undercut. So probably a smart move from Emil, but they're going to have to fight their way through. So we're under safety car conditions here on lap 4 after that huge smash for Jakob O. I'm guessing Jakob O, that's Jakob Osenasek. I apologise if I've pronounced that incorrectly, but that's my best stab at it. So happy to be corrected if you would like me to get that one pronounced slightly better. So our drivers forming up under the safety car here will give them a chance to conserve tyres, recharge batteries. Oh, and there's a decision already. So all of our drivers except M1 Righty pitting. M1 has decided to stay out. 10-second penalty for them. Dorling speeding in the pit lane. And we've seen drivers stacking. So I think that was Goat and Emerge. So Emerge is the one to lose out as they follow each other in. I did mention that we see the Saubers doing the same, of Hummel and Big Tonk having to stack, but accepting that is the price worth paying as they all switch on to, most of them switch on to hards. But Jakob's gone on to mediums, Obo's gone on to mediums, as has E36, Goat, M Dorling, Big Tonk and Spiralex. Emil, the odd one out, on soft tyres. So an interesting decision for a number of our drivers at these early stages. We're only on lap 5 of 36, folks. We've got a long way to go. So medium's almost certainly got to pit again. But there is a high likelihood of another safety car, of course, which will certainly play into the hands of a number of the medium runners here. The hard runners, that's the last thing they will want. But if they can hang on to track position, it won't be the worst thing in the world. I expect we'll be under the safety car here for one more lap. I'm going to see if I can take this opportunity to jump into one of the garages. I don't think we've got many of the garages open today. I know Obo was unwell, so we won't go and speak to the Aston Martins, so they probably won't be up for that. But I do see Goat is there. So the safety car is going for one more lap. Let me have a quick chat with Goat and see if quick pop into...
Hello.
Hey Go, it's Mark here from the stream. I thought I'd quickly stop in and say hello. You've got to be pleased with the start so far.
No, not really,
No?
to be honest. But I am P1 now, so it's worked in my favour. I don't know if Jakob got held, but yeah, to come out P1, I'm surprised.
Yeah, we saw M1 stay out on their softs, on their mediums, sorry, when everyone else went in, but he's obviously decided that maybe they need to do the same thing as well. You won't tell me for certain, but do you think you'll keep your options open? But will the hards go to the end here?
The hards will go to more than the ends, to be honest. It's not going to be fun, but the mediums will be in puncher range maybe by the end, so the hards is the safest option.
And other safety cars might mix things up further as well. So we'll watch with interest, but yeah, go well for the rest of the race. Still a very long way to go.
Yep, appreciate it.
Have a good one. So my thanks to Go. We won't go to another garage because I think the safety car is likely to come in any moment now. So Go, pretty confident that those hard tyres will go more than just to the end of this Grand Prix and maybe actually drive him home at the end of this as well. Be interesting to see the speed differential though. Safety car is in this lap. Okay, so we've got everyone back in the queue. Goat Ghosty will now become the safety car effectively here as we ready up to go racing again. Goat will be circumspect about when they go here. They do not want to drag this entire train of cars all the way round this bend and down the start-finish straight. So they'll be looking for the optimal moment to get on the accelerator, and I think it's not yet. Even fooled me. The Goat leaving it literally to the last minute, and away we go. And that, I think, has caught Marcelinki out. That's given Jakob the opportunity, but Marcel said, oh, we've got about 5 cars wide going in to turn 1. That was never going to work. That was just no room through there at all, nowhere to go. And a number of drivers, particularly in the McLarens of E36 and Spiralex, losing out there. If we get down to E36, they have made their way through. No damage for them, but Spiralex has got front wing damage. That has not worked out for them at all. M1 Righty went on to soft tyres in that pit stop. So they've got to get through this field of cars. They're going down the inside of Hommel. Apologies, of Big Tonk. Through on the inside of Big Tonk already, up into 7th. Then comes their next target is going to be Hommel. And Hommel's got designs on Jaguar Paw as we head down towards the chicane. M1 Righty holds station there. And Goat is being pressured by Jakob. So Goat, remember, on those new hard tyres. And Jakob, we've got to get to the front. Jakob right on the rear end of Goat Ghosty will want to take the lead of this race. Sooner rather than later. They cannot afford to let Goat dictate this one. Jakob down the inside, breaks later than Goat. Holds the inside of Tarzan back on the power. We've got another yellow flag. That is a DNFing, sadly, in the pit lane. And I've got a feeling that Spiralex might do the same as they pick up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. We did see a 10-second penalty for M. Dorling earlier, so M. Dorling has pitted and cleared that under the safety car, I think. So probably a smart move from them. So Jakob now leads and has got to get away. Got to get away from Goat Ghosty here. If they can break DRS, this race may be in the bag for Jakob. If Goat can hang on, though, to Jakob, Goat is going to be in a very strong position, as is Marcelinki behind them. Obo's doing pretty well at the moment here in 4th. So they've taken advantage of all that chaos that ensued on the safety car restart to get up into 4th. And now they are on the rear end of Marcelinki. Now bear in mind, Marcel on those new hards will not have the grip that the Aston Martin does. But with the benefit of DRS, they're able to defend from Obo. Obo looking to recharge the battery. You can see that Obo has so much more grip as they come out of these corners at this stage. And D can hold the inside line, but this brave man that tries to accelerate and come through there. And that's bringing M1 Righty onto the rear end. We've got a 3-car battle here for 3rd place. Watch for the fast charging M1 to find a way through an Obo, but they know Obo is a tricky customer. They're going to have to judge this one right. And Obo's got some pace also. Marcel's the cork in the bottle if M1 can find a way past, but M1 has more grip and now has benefit of DRS and the toe for Marcel to get through on Obo. So that's M1 through up into 4th. Their next target is going to be Marcelinki. So M1 is rapid at this stage in the race. And Jakob has broken the DRS to Goat Ghosty. So we'll see how well those mediums do. M1 can't find a way through. No opportunity there. M1 right in. That's allowing Obo to stick with 2nd, 3rd and 4th place here. And I said it was going to be a brave man who goes down there, and the way bang wheels as they come out of as they try and get through turn 4. That's allowed Obo back through. Very ambitious move from M1 right. He couldn't make it work. That's to the benefit of the Aston Martin of Obo. And M1 will have to try again. They're trying to use these soft tyres as much as they can at this stage in the race. Grab some track position. Jakob now 2.3 seconds clear of Goat Ghosty. So Jakob streaking ahead in the lead of this race on lap 10. But we're not even a third of the way through yet, folks. So plenty of time for this race to come back. And if Goat's predictions are anything to go by, those mediums will start feeling more and more horrible as we get into the latter stages. And also these hards will come to... Oh, and that's Obo trying to find a way through on Marcel. Marcel defends and taps the front end of Obo. Did look like a late defence from Marcel. Front wings disappearing all over the place. And sadly for us, Marcel was then left facing the wrong way. And we can see the damage on Obo's front wing as M1 Righty comes through on the Aston Martin. And then Emerged KDs get 10-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Now that may well get appealed, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a few. We had a very quiet week in the FIA last week, folks, in G-Force Racing. Do not be surprised if it's a little bit busier this week. There's certainly been a lot of action out on track, both in the sprint race and now in the feature race here. M1 Righty now onto the rear end of Goat Ghosty. Now I wouldn't be surprised if Goat lets M1 through. Uses the grip M1 has to help drag them along. At the moment, Goat's doing all the hard work. But indeed, I think Goat pulls out of the way. Now let's see if M1 and Goat actually work together. And I think there's an acknowledgement there from M1 as they go into turn 1. Now Goat will look to cling like a limpet to the back end of M1 Righty, which is a phrase I didn't think I'd ever say, but there we have it, for as many laps as they possibly can, and certainly until those softs start going off. Jakob is absolutely streaking ahead, 3.3 seconds clear now of M1 Righty and Goat Ghosty. We'll see if those times start to come down. To give you a sense of it, last lap for Jakob was a 112.059, their best of the race so far. Whereas M1 Righty did a 112.639. Now, admittedly, they were coming through on Goat Ghosty. But that's half a second they're dropping at the moment to Jakob. So Jakob pushing hard here. But that gap is already starting to come down. So 0.2. And actually M1 has dropped Goat Ghosty already. So 3 seconds now, under 3 seconds the gap. As M1 Righty sets the fastest lap of the race, a 111.563. So now that they've got through on Goat Ghosty, M1 Righty looking to hunt down Jakob. Although, Jakob's starting to really, well, they're doing their best to keep that gap at over 3 seconds, it would seem. Emerged KD's carrying that 10-second penalty for, according to the game, ignoring yellow flags, but currently running in 4th. Don't read too much into these penalties at this point. These may well get appealed and rescinded afterwards. So we'll go on track position at the moment. The only ones that don't tend to get removed too much is track limit penalties. But Emerge with that 10 seconds for yellow flag infringement may well be. Big Tonk, however, is having an immense race here in 5th place at the moment. 8-lap-old mediums will almost certainly have to pit one more time. I can't see them taking that to the end of this race. But Big Tonk in 5th is having a storming race, so keep going, Big Tonk. Then comes Jaguar Paw. Now, as we mentioned before, Jaguar Paw does know how to read a race, so they're on those hard tyres, will go to the end almost certainly. And he is in a pretty decent position. If they can hang on to the rear of Big Tonk and Jaguar Paw, is Big Tonk going to make a move? They're going round the outside, I should say, of Emerge. But Big Tonk's got some real pace here, and maybe this circuit is really suiting the Sauber driver. I see that Big Tonk is actually taking advantage of the communications in the McLaren garage. So if Big Tonk hangs on for this and stays in the garage, we may go and have a chat with them a bit later, but they're having a cracking race on lap 14 and pressuring our victor from last week in Emerge KDs. The gap between Jakob and M1 Righty now 3.4 seconds. So Jakob continuing to maintain that gap. Goat is managing to stay within 1.5 seconds of M1 Righty, but Goat will have more pace as this race unfolds. That looked like a move from M Dorling on Emeleki. Emeleki recovering after a pretty tough start. Safety cars perhaps helped them out a little bit, up into 8th place here. M Dorling in 7th, now hunting down Jaguar Paw. Sadly, we have lost Spiralex. So Spiralex, Ben Whelan and Jacobo are leaving us here, as that's Hommel being passed by Marcelinki. Oh, is that Hommel coming through on Marcelinki? It could well be. I think Marcelinki... Hommel's given that place back. Marcel is carrying some damage. We see that on the front left of their front wing. But Marcel not deciding to pit just yet. Maybe they'll do that at the next tyre change if there is one. So it's Jakob from M1 Righty, from Goat Ghosty in the front 3 places here. Then Emerge KDs, who seems to be losing a touch of time now. 7.5 seconds to Goat Ghosty, their teammate. But certainly looking like another good day for Team RB. And I wonder if Emerge is carrying some damage, because Big Tonk is really putting Emerge under pressure here. Emerge, remember, finished second in the sprint. Working hard here. Has lots of battery. Can they find a way through on the RB? This will be some point scoring position if Big Tonk can make this one work. They have got Jaguar Paw behind them. To get up to Emerge, I'm not sure if my telemetry screen will tell me for sure. There's no indication of damage for Emerge at this stage. Tyres looking pretty decent condition, although a little bit hot on the left-hand side for the RB. But it's going well for Big Tonk, and they are bringing Jaguar Paw and M. Dorling with them. I think the only unknown at this stage is what do any of our medium runners do in terms of pits, and when does M1 Righty pit? 3.5 seconds, they're not really closing in on Jakob. They will probably be hoping for a safety car, but then everyone's coming in pretty much for mediums if they've got any left for the end of this race, unless they have to go on to something different. Big Tonk getting very close now to the rear end of Emerge. Back on the power, DRS open as we come round this sweeping banked bend of 14. Big Tonk looks to have a run on the RB. We're going down the inside, the outside. We're going round the outside. Emerge holds the inside. Very respectful from both of them. Good clean driving. Emerge holds on. Big Tonk cannot find a way through, and neither can Jaguar Paw. Recharge those batteries once again for Big Tonk, and they will go again. M. Dorling is there, but they've got Emil, who's now starting to look a little bit more racy on those hard tyres. I told you, Emil, hard tyres is the way to go. Stick with what you know. So Emil doing well now. It's got a good run on the Aston of M. Dorling. M. Dorling goes a little wide, and that's allowed Emil through up into 7th place. And it looks as though M. Dorling's carrying a little bit of damage there on the front, on their front wing. So that's hampering them. Yeah, the right-hand side of their front wing has gone for the Aston Martin. And you can see the corners here, folks. You just need that front end grip to get that point of the car turned in. And that's going to significantly hamper the Aston Martin. And they've got a similarly ailing Red Bull behind them in Marcelinki. Although Marcel does have some good pace here. Gets up along the inside. M. Dorling trying to hold the outside. We see those multiple lines through Tarzan. M. Dorling hangs on to 7th place. Emil now onto the back of Jaguar Paw. Emil, this race is coming to you, my friend. So Emil has got the hammer down, that red light blinking, trying to find a way through the move up into 5th. Big Tonk is still there, and Emerge is dropping back from Goat Ghosty. And so I missed that. M1 Righty is in onto brand new hard tyres. Will now take those to the end of this race. So M1, watch them come flying through the field. They're down there in 9th at the moment, but brand new hard tyres. 13 lap delta on pretty much everyone else around them. So Marcel has finally got through on M. Dorling up into 7th. But Emil is stretched out from Marcel. Oh, and that is Big Tonk into the inside of turn 14. Got onto the barriers, and are we going to onto the outside of that curb and the exit of 13? We still have the yellow flag. Big Tonk is back underway. Safety car did not come out. That would have put the cat amongst the pigeons. So Big Tonk going so well. Maybe those mediums finally gave up on Big Tonk. They are going straight into the pits, understandably. Switch off of those tyres. And that's promoted Jaguar Paul into 4th, Emil into 5th. And Emil is looking very racy here. On the back of Jaguar Paul, trying to find a way through. Jakob is now nearly 7 seconds clear of Goat Ghosty. So is Goat just biding his time, holding on to those hard tyres? A safety car does not hurt Goat Ghosty at this point. But I wonder how hard Jakob has been pushing on those mediums. Only time will tell. We're on lap 20 of 36. Still 16 more laps to go after this one, folks. A very long way for our drivers to go. Those medium tyres, and this might be a record if Jakob does take those mediums all the way to the end. Emil gets through on Jaguar Paul. Good move. Up into 4th. So Emil has really switched on these hard tyres more than anyone else, and they are now after Emerge KDs for what will be 3rd place on track, assuming Emerge does get that penalty withdrawn at some point. But Emil going very, very well and closing down hand over fist over Emerge in front of them. We'll stay with Emil, actually. We might see this in real time as we close in on the RB ahead. Jaguar Paul is doing their best to stick with Emil. Marcel trying to close down on Jaguar Paul. Emil pushing super hard now, trying to get within the range of DRS, which is coming up. Detection point we've just passed, and we're going to come into... Oh, and that's very sideways from Emerge. Opportunity knocks now for Emeleki. That's where we saw Big Tom go very sideways. Big Tom's gone on to soft tyres. Maybe just running out of tyres in the Sauber garage. So Emil does now have DRS, or will have next time we get into the next straight on Emerge. But Emerge having a big moment through turn 14. Keep an eye on that gap between Jakob and Goat Ghosty, folks. Oh, and Emerge is really struggling to hang on to this RB now. Must have picked up some form of damage, or just these tyres not suiting Emerge at all. So Emeleki will have DRS as they come out of turn 10. Emil has got to keep an eye on their mirrors because they've got Jaguar Paul behind them. Very calm from Emil as they look to line up a move on Emerge as we come through 13. Now we get on the power. Don't want too much of this curb. Now DRS open. Dump some battery as we head down the start-finish straight. Emerge will only defence they'll have is their battery. They've done enough there. And Emil sits back in. So Emil unable to get through. Goat holding the gap to Jakob. Ghosty, that is, about 7 seconds now. Emerge continuing to drop further and further back. M1 Righty up into 7th as M Dorling pits onto brand new soft tyres. And Emil is trying desperately now. They know they've got to get past Emerge to make this hard tyre strategy work. I'll get up to Jakob in a moment and we'll see what the tyre wear is looking like. Jaguar Paul is hanging on very, very nicely to the rear end of Emeleki here. Can Emil find a way through? This has been a good battle to watch between these cars. Emerge has been able to defend very, very successfully. But can they hang on any longer? If this is a good exit for Emeleki, which it looks like it might be, let's jump back into Emil's cockpit. Yes, excellent exit. Emil dumps their battery as we come through down the start-finish straight, and Emil gets up into 3rd place on track. So, long way still to go. Another 13 laps after this one. But Emil now into 3rd place on track. So I did say I would get to Jakob, and so that front left of Jakob's Mercedes is on 53%. 41% for the left rear for Jakob. So these mediums, or if Jakob gets to the end of this race on this set of tyres, I will be absolutely amazed. And they are pushing. And I think that has to be the plan right now. Get as far ahead as they can, bin those tyres, softs for the end, and they're going to have to work hard though to get through on Goat Ghosty and Emil, but they're doing a great job so far. Goat there in second. 45% wear. My telemetry is telling me on Goat's front left also, so even these hards not looking in the best of shape, but if anyone can hang on to these tyres for a long while, it will be Goat. And it looks as though Emerge has got back through on Emil. So Emerge is not done yet. And they are back through into third place. Great battle. That's brought Marcelinki into play, even though they're carrying some damage on that front wing. We go a long way back to M1 Righty. Now, M1's times, we might as well take a quick look at that. 113.6 their last lap, compared to 112.6 for Jakob. So Jakob is lapping a second a lap quicker than everybody else pretty much at the moment. Other than, actually Jaguar is doing pretty well, but that's with the benefit, I think, of some DRS. So Jakob all out there on their own, setting very strong lap times, only half a second or so. Oh, we've got another yellow flag. That's clearing very quickly. That looks to be... Is that him, Dawley? No. So I think that may have been one of the Saubers there. So yeah, it was. That was the Sauber of Hommel having a moment through turn 7. So Marcel on the rear end of Jaguar. And this group, led by Emerge at the moment, is helping them stay out of danger from M1 Righty. So M1 really isn't able to close down, and that DRS swapping is allowing them to move forward. We've got Obo here pretty much on their own in 8th. There's Hommel in 9th, being challenged by E36 Goat. What a great time to come to this Kick McLaren battle. E36 on those hard tyres is in the last points playing position. Sadly for them, goes a bit too wide out of Tarzan and picks up a track limits warning. The first and only one of the day, or a penalty I should say, the first and only one of the day. And that's when we get all four tyres over the white lines 3 times. You're going to get a 3-second time penalty from the stewards. Jakob is in. So on to soft tyres. Jakob is going to be lightning, but they're going to have to find their way past Emerge and Ghosty with about 10 or 11 laps to play with. Looks as though Jakob has got out in front of Emerge. So it's a straight run at Goat Ghosty. This is going to be tasty at the end of this race. Jakob's got 8 seconds to make up. Well, watch those lap times. Goat was lapping at 112.6 last lap. We'll see what... Oh, E36 is going for it. Round the outside. Dives past Hommel. Picks up a bit of dirt on the outside of the tyre. Has to give way. Hommel on the inside. Glad we could be with this one. It's very close between the McLaren. E36 trying to find a way through on the Sauber. Can't make it work. We'll have to try one more time. Good racing from these two. So Jakob is now 10 seconds back as they settle in, having got onto the tyres, and E36 hassling. Hommel 26 stuck to the gearbox of the Sauber. It cannot yet find a way past. So E36 looking in very good shape at the moment, potentially for 9th place, albeit that they have got that 3-second penalty, which will be applied at the end of today's race. So back up to this continuing fight between Emerge Emil and now Marcelinki. We have lost Jaguar because Jaguar has also pitted. They've decided enough's enough. Oh, and that is Emil. Gone very, very wide, sadly for them. through 8. That's disastrous from Emil. Maybe they're just pushing a bit too much, but that's sadly let them down. Drops back into 5th, and they're going to have to be looking over their shoulder now because M1 Righty is coming at them too. So Emil down there now in 5th place. And we sadly have lost the tyre data for Emil, so I couldn't see the state of their tyres. Marcel going well, 22 laps in, and has been conserving their tyres pretty effectively, it would seem, but they are carrying 33% of damage on their front left wing, so that's certainly hurting their performance, but not too badly. And right now he's going to take 3rd position on track if it finishes this way. So up to Jakob, 7.2 seconds. Their last lap was the fastest lap of the race, a 1:10.681. Jakob is going to get the fastest lap point at this point in time. And we still do that here in the G-Force Racing League. We're running on last year's rules. We quite like the point for fastest lap, although the real world FIA have decided that they'll scrap it for the F1 25 season. But it's sticking with us certainly in season 5. At the moment, Jakob is going to get that extra point. And right now they are coming for Goat Ghosty. 6 seconds the gap as we close in on the grand finale of the feature race here in Zandvoort. It's been a brilliant race to commentate on so far, folks, and we've still got another 7 laps to go, 8 laps to go of this race, so we're not done yet. Jakob still needs to close, and they are doing that at about a second a lap, just over a second a lap. They're closing in on Goat Ghosty. Actually, that was a second and a half on that lap alone. So Jakob really pushing these hard tyres, and they need to. They want to take victory here, and it's how much does Goat have left in the tank and in the tyres by the time that the Mercedes reaches the rear end of the RB. Emerge is 7.2 seconds back, but cannot hope to close in on Jakob with the pace that Jakob now has. So Emerge is fighting Marcelinki and the recovering Emil, who, having gone wide through turn 8, is now looking to try and get back on the rear end of Marcelinki. We know Marcel carrying that damage will probably allow Emil to do just that. M1 Righty not really able to make impressions or inroads on Emil. I thought that they would do, but last lap 1:13.5 for M1 compared to 1:13 dead for both of the Red Bulls. So M1 not really seeming to have pace in the latter stages of this race. So Jakob pushing hard, 4.5 seconds now, the gap to Goat Ghosty. This could be a last lap shootout between Goat Ghosty going after their first victory here in Season 5 and Jakob also, I believe, I'm going to have to check the results, folks, I think also going for their first victory in Season 5 as well. I don't think Jakob has had a victory yet. They've had a number of podiums, but I don't think they've been in first spot. So it was Emerge KDs in Abu Dhabi, M1 Righty in Bahrain, and Marcelinki in Japan. So indeed, so Desaves actually was, or Jakob, has only been on the podium once so far this season, and that was last week. We've got a yellow flag just to make things interesting for us, and that's Big Tonk, and M. Dorling's left us as well. Well, that's a missed M. Dorling going, so not worked out for M. Dorling or for Big Tonk today. I think that's in the pit lane, so that yellow flag should not call out the safety car. We're right in the final knockings of this race here, with this lap and 5 more to go to decide who is going to win. The gap from Jakob to Goat Ghosty is 2.7 seconds. There, if Goat cannot add a little bit more pace, this could be over well before the end. Jakob pushing like crazy, but their tyres will be going off like crazy too. Plenty of grip left in them at the moment though, only 5 laps old, and they definitely aren't wearing too much. I think it's 5% a lap it would look like for the soft tyres. Goat's front left looks like it's had better days though. So Goat looking to nurse that RB to the end of this race, but is going to have a real battle on their hands to defend from Jakub Polowska. You'll understand why I'm sticking here, folks. We do see Marcelinki right on the rear end of Emerge, but with Emerge having that 10-second penalty, Marcel is going to finish in third place. Emil will also finish in fifth, so it's really the battle is here. We're going to find out who's going to be victorious. Big Tonk has left the session as well as leaving the race, so Big Tonk, thank you for giving us some very entertaining racing in the midpoint of this race, and you had some really good pace. It's just sadly not worked out for you, but keep practicing. I tell you what, if you've got that kind of pace, you'll go well as the season unfolds. 1.8 seconds the gap now. Jakub can see the RB in the distance, and it's an ever decreasing distance. 1.6, 1.5. As we count down the tenths of a second as Jakub tries to close in. Now it's one thing to close, as Murray Walker said, it's another thing to get past, and it's going to be another thing to get away here, because you can guarantee that Goat Ghosty will be clinging to the back end of Jakub's car as those soft tyres disintegrate further and further. We know Goat's tyres have seen better days also, and Jakub's having to press hard here, but they've got a huge amount of battery. Goat is clearly saving. We see the red light blinking on the back of the RB. That tells us that Goat is holding on to as much ERS as they can. They're going to need that for defending, and they're going to need it now. Jakub is in the range of DRS. We're on lap 33 of 36. Can Goat hang on for their first victory in Season 5? Can Jakub hang on and get past Goat for their first victory and extend their lead at the top of the championship after round 4? It's obviously a good result for Jakub in the sprint. Could be a very, very good result overall for them, and make up for, sadly, the loss of their teammate in the early stages of this race. We'll look to find out what happened to Jacobo, but what we're going to look to find out now is whether Jakub can get through on the RB. Goat using their battery to try and defend, but not too hard. That's a pretty easy pass as Jakub moves through, takes the lead, but now can they get away? We saw how they blitzed everyone else, and they're going to look to try and do exactly the same thing again. So Goat's tyres, 71%, that front left. Goat is looking decidedly on the edge. 75% and beyond is where we're looking at punctures, folks. So Goat will want to make sure they finish at least. And the 3-second time penalty, that is going to be Goat's challenge for victory here over. So they've got to think very carefully. Now, they might go for fastest lap. There is enough time. There's probably enough gap to their teammate of Emerge KDs also. If they are talking to each other, I didn't see Emerge in the RB garage earlier, but if they are talking to each other, maybe we'll see Goat dive into the pits and at least limit the damage here. Get onto some soft tyres, take fastest lap and that extra point away. I'll stay with Goat. Let's see if they dive in. No, they decide better of it. They're going to stay out. Okay, so Goat locking in that second place. Let's hope that we don't get a puncture for them. Marcel on the rear end here of Emerge, happy to follow Emerge KD's round. They're under no pressure from their teammate of Emeleki, but not a bad recovery from Emil into 5th place. M1 Righty has got Jaguar Paw putting them under pressure, so that is good. Sorry, I had to double check there. This is M1 Righty on 17 lap old hards under significant pressure from the Williams of Jaguar Paw. So Jaguar Paw really coming back into this, and a clever pit stop when they knew they weren't really making inroads on Emil and Marcel is allowing them to pressure a 2-time GFR champion for 6th place and more points for Williams. So a return to form here for Jaguar Paw. Impressive drive once again. Can they get through? We're going to have one more lap after this one. And it looks like Jakob is going to be victorious. 4.5 seconds they've pulled out. As M1 is defending from Jaguar Paw into the chicane. Will spin from the Alpine as they come out. That's very late braking from Jaguar Paw. Compromises their exit of 13. Onto the power as we come through the DRS zone. Jaguar Paw has got all sorts of space. Dives to the inside. Great move from Jaguar Paw through on M1 Righty. Up into 6th place. But can they hang on to it? Can they hang on to it? You do not want to be fighting M1 Righty on the final laps of this race. I'm going to keep an eye on the track map. We want to see Jakob come over to take victory here. They have cleared the field. 6.5 seconds for them. Clear of Goat Ghosty. Goat Ghosty also with a 3-second time penalty. And some very busted hard tyres by now, I dare say. Certainly a front left, which has seen better days. Great battle here between M1 Righty and Jaguar Paw, but it looks as though Jaguar Paw has done that one. So Jakob Hloska wins in the Netherlands at Zandvoort. Congratulations. Goat Ghosty does come home in second. Very good finish nonetheless. And Emerge KD's Rabi is going to come over the line in third spot on track, but Marcelinki is going to take third because of that 10-second penalty for Emerge. Emil also goes into fourth as a result of that penalty. Then comes Jaguar Paw in fifth right now. Emerge dropping all the way down to sixth. Watch for an FIA report on that one, folks. I'd be surprised if Emerge doesn't appeal that one. M1 Righty, unfortunately, misses out on sixth by 0.05 of a second. Obo finishes. We didn't see much of Obo in this race at all. So Obo's had a very lonely race there, but does finish in 8th. Hommel finishes in 9th and picks up points once again. And E36 Goat is the last to finish in the last remaining points finishing position in 10th. Hommel's actually given driver of the day from the game. Let me know in the Twitch chat, folks, who would you give driver of the day to today? It's hard to see past, for me, Jakob. Just a brilliant drive. Got their strategy spot on. And nobody could get anywhere near them. Was some good performances today. Emil was going very well after a tough start and not the greatest of qualifying. Yet Jaguar Paw made a very good strategy call at the end of that race. And Goat did very well to get onto the podium and hang on to those hard tyres at the very, very end. But sadly, not going to be victory for them today. But they gave us some great entertainment and some edge of the seat racing. So my thanks to all of those for taking part. Emerge and Goat are in the RB garage. So we will go and say a quick hello to those guys in a moment. We might get some first-hand account of how Emerge got that 10-second penalty. I'd like to show you the final classifications if it comes up on screen. But it looks as though the game is not going to play ball. But I can confirm, of course, that Jakob Hloska has been victorious here. Goat Ghosty was in second. And at the moment, at least, Marcelinki takes third spot on the podium. Yet, sadly, we do not get the final finishing classification on screen. But that's okay. Just going to see if I can get that to you through other mechanisms. Yeah, so Goat Ghosty in second, Marcelinki in third. No, that's the sprint race, so we won't look at those. My timing screen has not yet updated. That's the sad thing, but keep an eye out on the Twitch and the YouTube channel. Those results will be posted. I am going to pop into a couple of the garages and say hello to some of our drivers. First of all, we better go and say hello to our race victor. I'm diving into the Mercedes garage right now. Jakob, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Well, congratulations. I couldn't quite believe this, but that's your first victory of season 5. And you looked as though you judged that absolutely perfectly with strategy. Were you concerned that you might not catch Goat at the end, or did you think you had the pace?
Not at all. I knew the softs will have the pace. I did like 4 league races around Southport this season, so I know how it goes here. And it's just my truck.
Well, you certainly got everything right today. Do you know what happened to your other Jakob in the Mercedes team standing in for SS7? It looked like a very, very big crash for them on the opening laps of the race. Do you have any idea what happened there?
I still need to talk with him about it and see the clips, but from what he said, he got hit by Marcelinki, who was lagging like crazy the whole race.
Okay, Marcel's struggling with connectivity. That's a shame. Well, let your fellow teammate, reserve Mercedes driver, let them know they would be welcome back, I think, with pace like that, because we could well have 2 Jakobs on the podium in the future. But congratulations today, and I'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you too, and thank you.
Thanks, Jakob. All right. Let's go from one end of the running order to the other end of the running order. I see my good friend E36 go in the McLaren garage. Ben, are you still there?
I am, Mark, yes.
How are you? It was point on the board. You look to be going quite well and actually having a pretty strong battle with Hommel for a big chunk of that race. How was it for you?
Race wasn't too bad. On the safety car restart, got muddled up and had a spin and went down the back. But overall, I was happy because, to be quite honest, I surprised myself with a sprint. That was probably one of the best races I've had in the G-Force League. So overall, I mean, even though I got 1 point, I'll take the positives from tonight and move forward from it.
And I know you had, I think it was a great drive from you, Bailey. I think, and well-deserved points today as well. And that practice is starting to pay off. I know you had your friend and previous teammate, Big Tonk, in the garage with you. They had some real pace in the midpoint of the race, but then we saw them in the wall. Have you managed to catch up with them and find, did they just lose it? Was it tyres going? Any idea?
As far as I'm aware, with Big Tonks, he went too wide and had too much curb, which made him spin, and I believe Spiralex had damage, so he decided to retire.
That's a shame. That's a shame. Well, thanks ever so much for talking with me. Hopefully I'll see you in our Ferrari team on Friday in another league. But thank you ever so much for talking to me today, and I look forward to speaking to you next time.
See you later, Mark. Thank you.
Thanks, bye. Right, one last garage to go to, and that is our good friends in the RB garage, Emerge KDs and Goat Ghosty. So, guys, I've got to ask Goat, I've got to come to you first. What was that front left tyre on when you came over the finishing line?
I think it was about 77, maybe 78. Yeah, I was really worried for a puncher, and obviously the grip, hard tyres is not what you want to be on at all for this track, but it's the only tyre you'll be able to take to the end, so just risked it.
Well, it was worth a shot. I wonder whether when Jakob got past you and was pulling away, you might go for fastest lap, but you decided against it in the end?
I think it would have been a bit risky. I don't know how much you lose in a pit around here, but it's about, let me check. I think I would have lost too much time at 18 seconds, and you got to bear in mind that I got to overtake like 3 cars. Yeah. Although a merge probably would have helped me. I don't think it would have been worth it in the end.
Yeah. Well, second place for you. Good points on the board. And welcome back to the podium is what I'm going to say. Probably a long while coming, but good points for you. So well done.
Yeah, it should have been last race, but I'm glad it happened this one.
Definitely. Now, I'll come to your teammate, Emerge.
Hello.
But first thing I've got to ask, that 10-second penalty we saw you get for under the or not obeying yellow flags, is that one you're going to appeal, or was that a mistake on your part?
I'm 95% sure it will get removed. So
Okie dokie.
I should be P3.
Cool.
Should.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to reviewing that in the channel, but because it was, we wondered whether or not you might have some damage because you were.
Yeah, I had damage.
You were okay. Whereabouts?
Yeah, I got sandwiched into turn 1 on the restart because a car in front of me went late and I got an illegal overtake. Both McLarens spun and my display came up saying I had damage. So I kind of just tried to save my tires a little bit, but then I got the 10-second because someone spun in front of me mid-corner and I got an illegal overtake. But then they flew off the track again, so I couldn't let them past.
Okay.
And then really from there, I was just trying to survive. My front left was 76%. My rear left was at least 60, so I was struggling a lot. And I had Marcelinki up my rear for most of the last laps, but luckily I held him off. So it should be a double podium for RB.
Well, it's looking that way. Well, it's certainly a strong performance once again from the RB team, and your, I guess, sister team in Red Bull didn't give you an easy time of it either. We did watch Emil and Marcel pushing you hard towards the end. So, well, congratulations, and thank you both for some excellent racing today. We very much enjoyed it, and hopefully speak to you both next week.
Yeah, speak to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Well, that was excellent. So that brings us to the end of today's stream. Two fantastic races, the sprint followed by the feature race. Congratulations to Jakob. Maximum points pretty much for them here today. They'll also go away with the point for fastest lap as well, I'm pretty sure. So could not be better for them. We thank Obo for hosting today, stepping in for SS7. Obo, we do hope you feel better soon, and we wish SS7 a swift recovery as well. My thanks to all the drivers for giving us some great racing, particularly our newcomers. Jacobo, you'll be welcome back anytime, I think. So thank you for some strong performances today. And we saw some drivers start to move forward through the grid. Emil, Jaguar Poor, some strong performances there from E36 Go and from Hommel. So there's some good drivers coming through as well. So I do hope you'll come and join me next week for round 5 at one of my favourite tracks on the calendar, my hometown, and indeed my hometown race, and indeed I dare say from many of our drivers in the G-Force Racing League. Silverstone in the UK was actually the scene also of the last weekend's Ironman. So if you can't race with us on a Wednesday but would like to take place in the Ironman, which is 100% race, we get one shot qualifying. We only find out about the track 30 minutes beforehand, and we had a surprise change at the last minute to Silverstone on Sunday. Created complete chaos, but it was a lot of fun. If you want to come and take part in that, head over to the Discord server, sign up and come and join us at 8 p.m. every other Sunday with the G-Force Racing crew. All right, enough talking for me. I'm going to give my voice a rest. Thanks ever so much for being here, and we'll look forward to seeing you for round 5 in the UK next Wednesday. Bye for now.